Breaking news.
Drama! Yes, drama when it comes to Manchester United.
It's all kicking off.
Man United won't break the bank for him. And if Man United won't break the bank for him, they've got other targets.
Man United need to step on the gas and stop making excuses now for not getting Mbeumo over the line. The sale of Anthony Elanga to Newcastle United for the best part of £52 million is going to give us some peas. Around about 5 million. So if we've put in 2 bids for Mbeumo, that surely should be enough to say we've got an extra 5 million to play with, whether that's add-ons or upfront fee. Fling it down to West London to the G-Tech Stadium, please. Is that too hard to ask? I'm not someone who gets too angry. I'm not someone who gets too outlandish and starts making unreasonable demands. We've been stuck in dead talks with Mbeumo, or should I say Brentford, for the last 6 weeks or so over the extra fee. Well, guess what? We can't sell anyone, but the next best thing is add-ons or sell-on clauses from players that used to play for us. Yeah? So Anthony Elanga has gone to Newcastle within 2 bids and he's off. That's fine. Get the money in. Fling it down there to Keith Andrews and say, here you go, kid. Here's a couple extra million for you to spend. Is that too hard? Is that too simplistic? I don't work in football banking or football finance, but we're stuck. We need a few extra £1 million. We don't quite have it right now. Elanga gets sold to Newcastle. We get a few extra £1 million. We take that few extra £1 million and we give it to Brentford. Is that it? Surely. Or is it just me? Is it just me? Welcome to United View, guys. What's going on? Welcome back to the Transfer View. I've just opened up, like you said there, with the main crux of today. Anthony Elanga is gone. We've got a little bit more money to pay. A little bit more wriggle room. We're going to be talking about the striker search as well. And the fact that we've been offered some free agents. And to break that down, because that can be met, and I'm one to talk, that can be met with shouting, and if they dare, I swear to God. Of course, we've been offered some free agents. That's the jobs of them agents, to offer them players to everybody. So that's what that is. And the Amazon doc, the all or nothing that we ridicule Arsenal for, the all or nothing that I refused to watch of Manchester City, the all or nothing of Spurs that I did watch because I knew they won nothing, was offered to us and we were in secret talks. Ruben, shut it down, mate. We ain't doing that shit. We're not embarrassing ourselves on a global scale. So that plus more, all to come on the Transfer View this morning. Smash a like on the video. Subscribe to the channel if you are new. There's loads to get through, Owen. Absolutely loads.
Yes, there's loads to get through. As you mentioned, we're already over 100 likes. So if you haven't already, click the like button. Got close to 700 people through the door already. Recently hit 196,000 subscribers on that road to 200k. So if you haven't already, also be sure to subscribe. Flex, you mentioned the news this morning. Let's start with your son, Anthony Elanga.
My son's doing so well.
Let's start with him. But actually, let's backtrack a little bit. Let's start, first of all, with Mbeumo. Let's start with Mbeumo first, because what's the latest when it comes to that, Flex? You were asking about this. You were saying, Mbeumo, can we now get it done? What's the latest? Well, the latest is it kind of as you were. This was yesterday. Coming from the iPaper, they were saying that Manchester United's third bid for Mbeumo could come, but sources suggest a deal is not imminent. Brentford want more than £62.5 million. And other deals have started to kind of inflate this deal. João Pedro's £60 million move to Chelsea. Newcastle's offer for £55 million for Anthony Elanga has strengthened their case of them saying, well, Mbeumo, we think's better than them, so you're going to have to pay up even more. It strengthens their case. Now, according to Romano yesterday and James Ducker, Man United are hoping for a breakthrough in negotiations to sign Mbeumo this week. He is the immediate focus, as it were. But maybe that breakthrough is from Anthony Elanga. A little bit of money coming Manchester United's way. It was revealed yesterday from Fabrizio Romano. An exclusive, a bomber, that Anthony Elanga to Newcastle was here we go. In a deal to Newcastle's, they're paying to Nottingham Forest for £55 million. You will say, Owen, how does this affect Manchester United? Well, of course, we do have a sell-on clause for Elanga. There's been a bit of discrepancy as to how much it is. Nathan Salt from the Mail said it was 20%, therefore we'd get around £8 million. This morning, The Athletic saying that it's expected to be around sort of £5 million because it's not 55 million, it's 52 million pounds. Either way, it's money. I would assume it counts as pure profit still. He's an academy player, as it were. And seemingly, there's been a bit of discussion about the difference, Flex, in Valuation for Bryan Mbeumo, that's not that much. Remember last week it was, we've basically agreed a fee up front. It's just the add-ons, and they want a lot of it up front, and whether United can afford that, and United they're going to drive a hard bargain. They're going to get what they want. Well, look, extra 5 million. Surely that can be the gap, right? Can that be the gap? We were saying yesterday on the red carpet, we need a domino to fall, don't we? We need a domino to fall. Maybe it's not the biggest domino.
It's a very small domino, but it work.
Not last Friday, but it's something. It's something, maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe.
First of all, like people like Ty would do. First of all, I want to congratulate my son Anthony Elanga on his move. I'm very pleased for him. In football terms, very pleased for him. Actually, am. Couldn't cut it at United. Very, very difficult time. Can't grow. Can't evolve. Very difficult. Goes to Forest for 15 million. You go, that's about his level. Yeah, that'll do. Does really well in 2 seasons. Gets a 55 million pound move to be the starting right midfielder for Newcastle United in a very good team in the Champions League that are just pushing. But let's be honest, they're pushing. So yeah, shout out to my son Anthony. We exchange messages here and there and stuff. So I'm happy for him. He always says he's doing well. So I'm happy for him. But back to us. It just makes too much sense, though, doesn't it? Maybe it isn't like that. Maybe
someone mentioned in the chat last night, Marcel was saying 5 million. Sell of a fight, get 5 million in.
Well, in the end, it means we've got 20 million. We've sold, Elanga for 20 million, which is more to your point, which is it's not doing that. If we would have done Marcel's thing, we wouldn't have even got this far to get.
We sold everyone for 5 million.
It's so funny. Like we've sold it for 15, have to wait 2 years to get another 5. But that's what sell-on clauses are. That's why you insert them, right? Because if the player does well, you want to get a little bit of that profit. And he was homegrown. So wait, he's homegrown. So is that 5 like a light 15?
Oh, that's what I mean. I don't know. I would hope so. I would hope. It's just extra, isn't it?
But however you look at it,
it's extra you weren't anticipating. You couldn't put monetary value on it, could you?
No, you didn't know when it was going to come, even though you got selling clause. So what was the deal? Just quickly before I carry on, what was our last bid? Was it 55 plus 10? And they said no. Or was it 50 plus 10?
Who knows at this
But there were like 2 official ones where it was like a lot of people were reporting.
Mbeumo's second bid. What was the second bid? Well, the improved bid allegedly was worth £62.5 million. I suppose
the add-ons might have been a lot, not a lot up front.
United had already seen a bid worth £55 million rejected. Talks between the two sides are continuing. Does it say how much that was made out of?
I remember doing the shows and it was like, was it 55?
But they were saying it was 62.62. Yeah, a lot. They were saying £62.5 million, but I guess it's about it being upfront.
Yeah,
so maybe it was 55 plus 7, perhaps ish.
Yeah, that's what TK says there. I remember it being something around that. I've lost track of all these bids / non-bids / imminent / not. I've lost track.
The waters have been very muddied when it comes to how much has actually been offered and how much Brentford want.
I don't know exactly. So I don't. So I don't believe we're far off in valuation. I just think it's how much you have to pay up front, which obviously matters to us.
Which is what is annoying people, isn't it? Because naturally we're going, the last offer was overall 62.5 and you want 62.5. So how can we not get that over the line and done?
If that's not guaranteed, they might want that guarantee because 62.5 might be like if he scores another 20 goals again, it activates them 7 million add-ons or the add-on. Because we're shit, people are probably really skeptical about the add-ons with us. Let's be honest.
Yeah.
Unless they're appearance based.
Qualify for Champions League.
Exactly. Well, I don't know the next time you're going to do that, mate. So I don't want that. That's not a feasible clause for me to have as Brentford owner when I'm looking to secure the P's for the next move. Yeah, you're being cheeky by saying, look, see, this whole package totals 62.5. But one, I don't know if your team's good enough to even get the best out of Bryan Mbeumo. So he might go from scoring 20 goals to 10. So that ain't going to get met. That's why you probably want it to just be things like how many games he's going to play because he's probably going to play a lot of games. But other than that, you're reluctant with Man United with that add-on. So I think they're looking at what is up front. And let's be honest, I don't blame them. When you do see the João Pedro deal, when you do see Anthony Elanga deal, when you do see Jamie Gittins coming to the Premier League unproven, never played there in his life, 50 million. They're a couple of years younger than him, but he's in his prime. He's 26 next month. Do you know what I mean? He's
Yeah.
prime.
Well,
So
like you said, they'll look at João Pedro, right? Last season, João Pedro scored 10 goals in the Premier League. 27 games, scored 10 goals. And he's 23, he's 24 in September. Meanwhile, Brian and
enough of them were
Mbeumo, like you
pens.
said, and Brian and Mbeumo next month, 26 years old, last season in the Premier League, in comparison to João Pedro, who scored 10 goals, 6 assists, Brian Mbeumo got 20 goals, 8 assists. So you can't necessarily blame Brentford.
For them.
You can't necessarily blame Brentford for going, well, if João Pedro's 60, then Brian Mbeumo is definitely worth more than that. You can't offer us 55 million up front. And Man United also, in the back of their mind, they will also know. They'll go like, if we pull off 55 million up, that's a good deal. We've done well there. We've done well, you know. So
they tried to lowball it, tried to, maybe can we get it?
Well, just just try and be a bit, I don't know. So, but like going back to the Elanga thing, if the difference up front is like a 5 million quid, you just go, surely that can be enough. Just get something over the line. Like we said yesterday, there is this element of twitchiness to the point now that when Mbeumo is through the door and whenever he does come in, there are some people like Minnow yesterday were even saying, like, are you starting to get worried that it's not going to happen because things have slowed down so much? It's been so long that the deal almost won't be celebrated as much as it would have been 2 or 3 weeks ago, because it's just like on to the next. We need to get the next. We need to do the next. So hopefully this Elanga thing is just little pennies from heaven, and we've just gone, thank you. We'll just get this one over the line. Over the line, Flex.
Over the line.
Over the line.
Yeah, over the line. And that's what I'm saying is I see why they're holding on for more. I get it. It's their right to do so. But also I see why this bit of money here coming in should be the one to, hopefully you'd think to tip it over the edge. But I don't know, man. We have to get him in, man. We really have, because like you said, after him, who we even linked to? If that deal collapses, it's going to take us, you'd think anyway, because it's not been in the media, it will take us a while to reignite. Well, yeah.
I'll tell you we're linked to. This was a little bit this morning. This is always fun with doing these shows. So you get the shows prepped, you get them ready, and then The Athletic releases their transfer deal sheet that they do at least once a week, maybe a couple of times a week. And it's, and every club, very extensive. I would say the Prem around Europe, the world. Today, I think it was based around Messi signing a new contract into Miami. And you go through, and you can always tell who's doing a lot of business by how low down you are on the list. Sometimes it's alphabetical. Sometimes, if you're high up, you're doing stuff. So I'm scrolling through this morning, I'm thinking, maybe there'll be some, something in there we haven't really thought about, we haven't really seen this morning. This is what was on things that were on the transfer deal sheet this morning. First of all, brace yourselves, guys. Okay. So the Athletic saying Manchester United have been offered the chance to sign several free agents, namely Dominic Calvert-Lewin, Jamie Vardy, and Callum Wilson. It is expected, though, that United would only advance on these, if at all, towards the end of the window if they do not get any of their top targets. Now, in addition to that, and this one is quite significant as well, the Athletic are also saying Manchester United have been keeping tabs on Fiorentina's Moises Kean, who has a €52 million release clause that can be triggered until the 15th of July. Manchester United are the Premier League club to have shown the most interest in the 25-year-old, who also has interest from the Saudi Pro League. Some people think he's going to leave because Fiorentina have signed Edin Dzeko, but apparently this was not part of his succession plan. Dzeko was just signed because he offers something different than Keane up front. So they're like two other names we've been linked to, or two, groups, stories, whatever. And obviously that free agent one, like they said in the chat here, rage bait. It's one of those ones. It's one of those ones.
You're trying to piss me off on purpose, so I respond. Rage bait.
Yeah. It's one of those ones where it's like there probably is an element of truth in that story, because naturally, if your agent, your client has, he's not with a club, just left Premier League club, which is the case of Calvert-Lewin, Wilson, Vardy. They just pick up the phone, didn't they? Pick up the phone and they start going around. Hey, he's a free agent. He's, you come in or what have you. But this is when I go back to, because we're getting twitchy and because we're getting things are moving a bit slowly, it's on another level, isn't it? If we put it this way, if we'd signed Cunha and Mbeumo and we were talking to another high-profile striker at the moment, you'd be like, you know what, actually, Callum Wilson maybe as a backup off the bench. He was doing that for Newcastle. He gets injured a lot, but he was doing that for Newcastle. Yeah, man. Wait, James last night was going, Jamie Vardy, you know what, off the bench, couple of games here and there, maybe throw him on. Even Calvert-Lewin, if the deal was right, back up, not long, 1 year deal, whatever. But it's because we've got no striker at the moment,
and they might be the striker.
Yeah, and we don't know who the striker is going to be for us this summer. Still, Gyökeres off the table, Jonathan David off the table, Osimhen off the table, Šeško. We weren't even linked to him really that much in the first place. I don't know what's happened with him. So you go that last bit where it says they would only consider them if at all, if at the end of the window they hadn't got their primary striker target. But right now we're like, who is the primary striker target? We don't know. Is it Watkins? Maybe. I don't know. So that sort of bit of the contingency of, only at the end of the window, nothing happened. That feels like a very real possibility, doesn't it? Which is, that's the worry. That's the concern.
It does. And that's the thing. To be fair, I'm actually in a good mood today. Maybe my endorphins are around doing well because paddle last night and the release that I had, it was great.
Yes.
But I do feel like we do have to be careful with where we are now, because hear me out on this, we'll start to get exploited as Man United fans. That's what's going to happen, and I mean emotionally, because in the media there's facts and there's things that ain't quite right. We know we are absolutely struggling and everyone knows how much players we need. So we're very temperamental and we haven't seen much options. Obviously, free agents are going to shop their players around, and Man United are desperate and don't have that much money. So yes, cool. An agent of Callum Wilson's would say, fancy Callum? If you don't, what do you reckon? He's willing to take, not that much money. Just wanted to let you know. Jamie Vardy's agent.
Sure, you're not get calls.
You're gonna get calls every day. And what I think we need to be careful of, which does happen every year, to be fair, we confuse the two or mix the two together because half of it is true and a lot of it isn't. Is basically going, we're gonna go ape shit at the club for people offering people to them. They haven't accepted it. You can get offered anything all the time. That doesn't mean that that's not indicative of the work you're doing. That's just indicative of free agents looking for a club being offered to you. We can go mad, or I can speak for me. I will only go mad. The Calvert-Lewin one, I was a bit annoyed the other day. Because in fact, that's the example I'm talking about, right? It's not. That was sort of the rumors were saying Man United are looking at that. This is saying Man United have been offered. So I'm not, even though you might say Calvert-Lewin is angry, because I was reading reports and it got in my head, that was rage bait of like, you lot are actually trying to look at that. That better be false. If you dare try to look at that. I can't really have the same energy for agent offers United a player. Like that's happens millions and millions of times. And also they need to drum up interest in their players and stuff. That's the game's the game. Unless we're in talks to sign or advanced talks or we're looking at, then you got to take that with a pinch of salt. We can't go mad, can't cuss out the club completely, like just go mad, lose our shit over a report that said these players have been offered to Man United. Players get offered to Man United all the time.
Yeah, like I said, they do get offered all the time. I think, like you were sort of saying, that sort of outrage or frustration you had the other day is, once again, it's based off, I think, just the pace in which this window's happening, which is slow. And also, naturally, you do look at other clubs, and granted, they're in different positions than us, and context is different, but how can it not leave a sour taste in your mouth where it's like Arsenal are linked with here we go for Gyökeres very soon, and we're linked with Jamie Vardy.
Exactly. It's not, and that's the thing that gets you angry, rather than you're like thinking he's been offered to us. That doesn't mean when you get him, you go, no. We still
see the names. You just see the names,
and then associate someone else. And listen, part part of that is true. You can't completely disregard that because it does show you where you are versus where they are. You know what I mean? So that is true, but we still have to be realistic about where we are. We're not. Jamie Vardy is not prime target. We're not trying to negotiate for Jamie Vardy. We're not trying to negotiate as it stands for Callum Wilson. It better remain as that. It better remain as that. But if we got Ollie Watkins, and Mbeumo, and then you said Callum Wilson's just there as that because you kept Xerxes as well, and Rasmus maybe left, and you said you just got Callum Wilson. We don't have much money, but you gave him a 1-year deal, pay as you play or whatever, low money. You'd go, well, you know what? There's Watkins and Xerxes ahead of Wilson. You can bring him on for 10 minutes here or there. It's 1 game a week as well. He's not going to play that much. Yeah. That makes sense. Or, you're not going to get really laughed at for that. You go, Callum Wilson. Sometimes there is opportunities in the free market where you go, tell you what, no one ever thought that. He chipped him with 8 goals last year. Didn't really expect that.
If it was like you said, last day of the window, we've already done, we've got a brand new front three anyway. Like I said, let's say it's hypothetically Watkins and Mbeumo, Cunha, and you still got, like you said, Xerxes and others on the pitch. Okay, yeah, he's got options. Maybe could need another one because I still don't want to be, the sort of, don't want to have Cheeto coming on. It's still a bit early, for that. We just kind of need someone to sit on the bench for most of the season because, again, it's 1 game a week. You go, all right, and bring...
And an experienced striker to help Cheeto and help them guys.
Yeah, or bring in... Jamie Vardy as like he's good to have around the dressing room kind of vibe or so whatever. I don't know. I wouldn't be opposed to that, but a lot's got to happen first for that bit to be comfortable. That's what I'm saying. And I just don't know when or if that's going to happen. That's the worry. And naturally, of course, when you do go down, as you're putting on the screen right now, when you go down that route of, well, this is the scenario in which it could work. So you're saying, Fleck, you want Callum Wilson as the number 9 for Manchester United?
Yeah, I'm not saying that.
Which is not the case.
I'm not. And listen, some people's opinion could be under, I don't care what the case is, under any circumstances possible. We're trying to get back. There is no place for someone like Callum Wilson, Dominic Calvert-Lewin or Jamie Vardy at this club right now. I don't care how low we are.
And
not even lead it. Not even lead it. Just be part of the squad. That's just not what we should be doing. And listen, if someone makes that case, I do hear that you could say that's just what we're doing. But you sometimes do have to open up your mind to different scenarios, considering the situation you're in. And like you said, a lot has to happen. A lot would have to happen in order to get
to that point.
Get to that point where I would go, you know what? You add that in as a bonus at the end. We got this.
Which again is naturally why people are concerned because they don't trust United to do that work, to get to that point where it's actually good. You've done so much work that extra bit of garnish that's actually a good deal. Because a lot of work has to be done to make that a good deal. And I think as of right now, because nothing's really happened, second day of preseason training, we're like, there's a lot of work to do. And we've got a game in like 11 days' time in Sweden. What's going to happen with that? The first preseason game is in 3 weeks? Something like that. It's like, so who's going to be going on it? No players have been sold. After Fridays, they were all been put on the transfer list. The most we've heard about any of those players really is that Rashford said, I didn't ask to leave. Garnacho, we've heard nothing about Garnacho's status at all since Friday. Nothing. Okay. Not even a story of interest. Like, even those things of Napoli are interested, that's just gone completely silent. Or Chelsea might be interested. That's gone completely silent. They've just literally started signing other players. So I have no idea what's going to happen with them. Anthony, I don't really, to be fair, I don't get the Anthony one because I swear Real Betis did just sell a bunch of players.
Yeah,
so you signing players that weren't Anthony. So I don't know really what's happened in that. But you're just hoping and begging. And this might be copium, Flex. And you tell me if this is copium, all right? The thing I'm trying to sort of hold on to at the moment is that there is actually something that's going to happen. It's just going to come out of nowhere because that has happened a couple of times before where Ornstein puts up the siren and it's like, Garnacho's close to agreeing a deal with Aston Villa. Well, that came out of nowhere. Well, Good. That is all I've got to hold on to. I don't have anything else. But that's just as like mythical as Ruben going, I've got no performances or results for you to hold on to. It's just hope. We're in a hope and prayer setting.
I think
So
you're right,
still,
though.
it's like, I hope something will happen. Have you got any
think
evidence
you're
to say
right.
that it will?
Well,
No.
Listen. I actually do think these players will leave. I just don't think it's going to be early in the window. That's the problem. So I've already started to, as disgusting as it is, that's the hold up. And I think that hold up is not going anywhere anytime soon. You know, I think James explained it really well on the red carpet yesterday that like a lot of these guys want moves to specific clubs. They're not just accepting.
Yeah.
You know, so where Marcel was, I don't care. I'm going to every single Premier League club and I'm asking, do you want them? And great, yeah. When Sunderland saying, God, love the chance to sign Garnacho, that'd be great. Marcus Rashford, yeah. Everton, tell you what, yeah, the new stadium, Hill Dickinson Stadium, yeah, it'd be amazing. Yeah, we'll have Rashford. And then you go to Rashford and he goes, obviously, I'm not going there. So that's what's going to hold it up. And I just think United, we're going to be in a position whereby it's going to take a while to get these players in. That's what I think is going to happen. I'm almost certain of it, that we won't get players quick. I think that we'll get towards the end of pre-season and we're like, what's going on? We'll get back to that game against Fiorentina that weekend, probably a bit of business then. Then I think, do we still have a couple of games? When does the window shut? September.
Well, September, yeah, but it's not like 11 o'clock. It's 7 o'clock now, isn't it?
Right,
so,
but still, you get them 3 games before the international break where you have to play.
Put it this way:
so there's stuff that's going to be going on, man.
That first game against Arsenal is still in the transfer window, and that might push a lot of people to do some crazy stuff because. As of now, you think about the teams that are going to line up on paper in that first game of the season. It's horrifying. Oh my God! Apart from Matheus Cunha, it's the same team. It's the same team.
And that goes into what Mina was saying. Like, how can these guys come back and we think we're going to get better?
No, exactly, and that's the thing. And we said this last week, didn't we? With those players, like Rashford or Garnacho, etc. That I think it will be a game of chicken, won't it? It will be a game of chicken in the sense of, look. We aren't going to register you in the squad. You're not going to play. Well, you'll be forced to if I don't get my move to Barcelona. Well, I'll just stay here. I'm happy to train, and it gets closer and closer to the end of the window. A bit like Sterling last season, where it's like, oh shit, actually we're not going to be registered. Oh shit, he's still going to be around. We've got to find something. And then, like you said, maybe someone does then pick him up on loan, and Rashford goes on loan in the Premier League for 6 months, or Garnacho sorts out a move somewhere for a period of time. I think, to be fair, I do think the Sancho one, you would hope. It's looking like that Juventus one. That looks like it's gonna happen. But with him, I don't think you can expect anything either because it's like football's not the priority there anymore because playing's not or anything like that because he's a million miles away from playing international football in a World Cup year anyway. And if we're seeing these reports about like Gyökeres, etc., willing to take a pay cut or forego money to make the move go through. Sancho wasn't to make the Chelsea one happen, and that probably would have been the best move for him as well with what they're doing, and they did actually technically want him. So I don't know. Like I said, I hope it just comes out of nowhere. That's my hope and prayer. Actually.
Hope and prayer, see, bro. Mavado settings, hope and pray. Joe Fleming says, for F's sake, just bring me Ollie Watkins, as Flex says. Sure, just get him. Just get him. No, people don't want him, mate. Shara says, indeed, Dewsbury Hall, Dominic Calvert-Lewin, Trippier deal is the one. That is the deal. That's the one. I could see that. Imagine. But here says, according to James, his sources say United feel Brentford are taking the piss. Allegedly, they constantly change how much is needed to get him. Therefore, the third bid wasn't made. United want him to push now. I don't know if Mbeumo.
Well, this was something I mentioned the other day. It does feel like the goalposts have constantly gone a little bit like this with the Mbeumo one, isn't it? Because, like I said, I remember before it was they want a deal that's equivalent to Matheus Cunha, £62.5 million. So when the last bid went in and it said what it's worth in total, £62.5 million, everyone was like, oh, so that will be enough then. And then because of the other deals that have gone on, like João Pedro, like you said, Gittins and others, they've gone actually... maybe he's worth like 70 million or something. And that would piss you off if you've been negotiating for a month
100%.
to get to 62.5.
They're moving the goalpost.
70 million. You go, bullshit. Actually, I'm not happy. I'm not having that. You're not going to take the piss here. And then
I'd love to be in the room. I'd love to just know how
Brentford know they're playing a bit of a game because they see the news, they see the situation, they go, well, we know you need players. We know you need players, and you're desperate, and everyone else is doing business. We're fine. If I'm Brentford as well, I'm thinking, look, we need to get as much money as possible. We have no idea what next season is going to look like for us. Thomas Frank's gone, our captain's
Big changes
gone.
there.
And Mbeumo's gonna go, our best player. Season before that, Ivan Toney went. So
They've
who
replaced
knows?
the goalkeeper. They've replaced Flecken,
Exactly. Who knows what they're going to look like? So yeah, they're going to try to get their most money. But if I was United, I'd be pissed off with that. You've been working towards a number, and then suddenly it shifted. You'd be like, hey, well, that's not on.
Yeah. Also, what we're hanging on to is that how quickly things can change in the window, and then all of a sudden you can feel all right. But the problem is that we don't have the track record of doing that. Last year, you try to go off previous years, don't you? Last year, by the end of it, it felt like we'd done okay. It felt like it was, but when you look at it, like, I don't think it was the worst, but obviously we've had our worst ever finish. Not necessarily just because of the players we bought, though. That was a lot to do with changing manager mid-season. The system didn't fit them players, didn't know what was going on, and we just got exposed. But we did buy, I mean, the jury's out on Ugarte, depending on who you ask. Mazraoui is a good squad player, can play in different positions. Yeah. Good fee. Delict, he's good.
The fee we ended up getting on them in the end was pretty good.
Both of those two was good. Was a good
quite
package.
High, but it's sort of.
But it was like
it was a weird one, wasn't it? Because he came in, and I think initially we were like, actually, I don't know. And then towards the end of the season, it was like, actually, he is quite important.
And then he got injured. But I don't know, like the final version of us being the top team we want. He'd be like good to having. He's good, but he's not like. I can't explain it. He's quite dependable. In some games, he can be like proper colossal. Like, I mean, like against Arsenal when we played in the FA Cup, he was brilliant.
And you maybe hope like he might get better this season.
Yeah,
because
get a better run,
second season.
Yeah. So, but maybe. He's like, he's good, but he's not. You don't get the like, oh my god, every time he play, like we're so set. Lenny Yoro is good. He's very good for how old he is. But it's got still a long way to go.
Yeah.
He will get better and it's got a long way to go. Xerxes, we all saw what happened at the beginning of where we were at versus actually, to be fair to him knuckling down in January. And from January to probably April, he started to turn it around.
His issue is just he was horrifically misprofiled. Yeah. We thought we were buying a striker and we weren't.
And Kevin Hatchard told us, you're not.
Yeah. Go back and watch that interview that you did with him. He was like, it's difficult to pinpoint what he is because he's tall. He's not great in the air. He's big. He's not particularly quick. He's got good feet, good link-up play. Not a striker, really. He doesn't score a load of goals. And you think, and at the time,
we literally saw that.
That should have been
red flag.
We go, well, that doesn't sound like a striker then, does it? Are we buying like a 10? And we did.
Yeah,
we bought
a false 9 at best.
Yeah, when we were like, we need to buy a senior striker to help out with Rasmus. So he was horrifically misprofiled in that regard. And that's also when you go back to this whole striking search, that's why you worry, because you go, surely not for like a third or fourth year in a row. We can't be like, we haven't got a senior striker, because we go into every window saying, need to get a senior striker, We're going to get a senior striker. And if we don't get one, oh my God, like what? How?
And so actually, and we started to see some of the things he can actually give, and because it was in comparison to Rasmus, we were like, Zaxon, he's at least he can control the ball, bring people into play, something. And the emphasis was off of like he's supposed to be a striker, supposed to score 20 goals. It was no, we ain't got anyone who even likes the ball. Like the technical floor, the technical level of this team. How many times have I said it? Like, there's not enough players who like the ball, who want to keep the ball and can look after the ball properly, And so many other teams are able to do that way better than us. Like, so you can't even count 4 or 5 passes for us. And if you do, it's in the horseshoe along the back where the other team just letting us have the ball. In terms of penetrative passes, passing forward with meaningful intent, with purpose, we don't really do that well. And the move often breaks down as soon as we try to inject a bit of pace and intensity into our passing, a bit of zip. We don't do it. like you said, hot potato settings. So
or control under pressure. You know, like I
control under
remember
pressure. We get pressed, just lose it.
We did a United game one day, and I think the next day or a couple of days later, it was one of the games on the Football Flex, and it was the PSG game. And because obviously you watch United all the time, you're used to just seeing how you think football operates.
Yeah.
And when I went from watching United to watching PSG, the fact that their midfielders could receive the ball, be surrounded by 2 or 3 opposition players, still be comfortable to either one touch release or literally just first time pass, no problem, be that press resistant. I went, we just don't see this. We don't see it. We've you get a ball fired into the middle of our midfield, and they're not even necessarily under that much pressure, but first touch flies off, or they try and pass, it's easily intercepted. I'm just like, we just haven't seen it. We haven't seen that. We don't have players in our team that can do that. And the mad thing is because of just the sheer other parts of the team we have to fix, like the entire front three, and then you go, maybe a goalkeeper, whatever. It's not even as high of a priority for us to get those like technical midfielders because we've got so many other issues we need to sort out. We need to score goals. We need to put the ball in the back of the net, let alone be able to pass it. It's mad. It's mad. And again, that's when we have these conversations. I saw someone put it in the chat. We were legitimate having conversations about, is it better if we start Harry Maguire up front for the latter half of last season? Legitimately, we were like, actually, maybe we should put him up front. That might be better for us. And we could have a transfer window when we don't sign a striker. So, yeah, that is worrying. How can that not be worrying? But there's still time, Fleck. There's still time.
Still time. I'm just going to be... I'm trying to just remain in a neutral space where I can think
We need
clearly.
a good result in one of those preseason matches. If we play Leeds in that preseason match and we got a good result, we'll be like, well, look, it's not ideal, but that's
not
something.
enough.
It's some good news. It's some good news.
Man. It's not, Owen. It's not. We're in the... Let's be honest.
If we lose...
Well, yeah, but that's what I'm saying. We're in that phase where it's like, damned if you do that. If we beat Leeds in the thing, it won't.
People won't care.
But then if we lose, like you said, it is even worse.
Yeah.
Even though it's pre-season, so it's like, and then a draw is just like, see, look at them. That was just the same as last. I don't know. I'm about to do this all again, man. All again.
In Sweden, a lot of ABBA puns.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
Just. Please just get some players, man.
And Leeds are just about apparently, according to Fabrizio Romano, about to sign Sean Longstaff from Newcastle.
Yeah, the Longstaff. Remember the Longstaff brothers done us over that year when Matty Longstaff scored against us.
Yeah,
and
you were being linked to them, weren't we?
Sean Longstaff was linked to going to be the new Carrick member. Bro. It just hits you, innit? You just, what are we going to do, man?
I tell you exactly what we're going to do, Flex. We're going to hit the like button. We've got close to 2,200 people watching. We are less than 60 likes away from 500. So, yes, if you haven't already, click the like button. See if we can get to 750. As Mini said, Flex started the stream off happy.
Or calm, anyway. Started off calm.
Yeah.
And now I'm just, again, it's like different times, isn't it? You start to just think, oh, what does that look like if this happens then?
Yeah.
How long? If
you think about it too much, that's the question. You just don't think that much.
And then you start just getting things like you say, just Onana special versus Leeds, maybe just stuff that you kind of put to the side for a bit because it's summer. And you go, all the stuff.
Saw him on the chest press machine yesterday, smiling.
Yeah. He's not going anywhere. I'll tell you that for free.
No, he's not.
Aki says, we're losers. When are you guys turning against Amorim? I'm not trying to turn against him, man. I just wanted to turn it round. Joe Flower says, let us take Whistler off them as well. Bring him come. Yeah, mate, see how much he's trying to get out of Mbeumo, mate. Try and go back into Whistler and take in probably charge 100 million. Right. On top of all that, at least we can say we're not having an Amazon documentary to document all of this shit.
Yeah, with the state that we're in, just imagine what this would have looked like. Good grief. So David Ornstein, Adam Crafton. People were saying yesterday there was the exclusive siren Ornstein that said Man United, and you're like, and it was documentary. It wasn't what we thought it was going to be. David Ornstein and Adam Crafton said Manchester United have withdrawn from secret talks over a record-breaking Amazon Prime all access or access all areas documentary next season after concluding it could distract from the process and progress of the first team. According to sources briefed on the matter, who remain anonymous to protect business relationships, United spent several months negotiating a deal with Amazon towards the end of the previous campaign. Amazon's offer was significantly more than the £10 million and would have been its largest ever payment to a club for an all-or-nothing series, having previously broadcast editions of Arsenal, Manchester City, and Tottenham Hotspur. But despite United's more senior executives being across the discussions, the plug was pulled earlier this summer. It was to a significant extent because head coach Ruben Amorim made clear he was not comfortable with the potential intrusion on the first team, while aspects of the commercial agreement and the time pressure of the upcoming season were factors as well. Also said United presented the proposal to Amorim after the end of the season, and having received his feedback, the board received a unified recommendation as its executive committee to drop the idea. The Amazon proposal would have lightened financial concerns, and United's business side, including Ineos and the club's chief executive officer, Omar Barada, were supportive of it. However, this remained contingent on overall feasibility and the football department's support. Upon being informed of the potential arrangement, Amorim, who has experienced a difficult start to life at United, made clear he did not believe such a project would be appropriate or beneficial to the first team at present. He felt it would be an unwelcome distraction in an environment that has had many problems in recent years. Any television show would have needed buy-in from the players, as Amazon would have gained near unlimited access, and this was never likely to be realistic without Amorim convincing them of its merits. So it's interesting to hear that, you know, Ineos and Omar Barada.
Best decision we've made under Ineos, I'm going to say. Honestly.
Yeah, absolutely.
Honestly, bro.
Absolutely. And this
Can
would
you
have
imagine
been
the damage? Bro.
This would have been for this season. This would have been for this upcoming season. Someone says in the chat, the talks took place at the end of last season, would have been for this upcoming season. And Ineos and Omar Barada were like, yeah, okay, it's good money. Let's do it. And Ruben Amorim was like, have you seen this shit show? I've just been cussing out players in front of everyone. We can't have that live forever on the internet. No chance.
Way. And
chance.
you got to think of like the damage that does. Yeah, in excess of 10 million, biggest ever deal for of course, because they've seen Man United finish 15th. One, we're massive anyway, so we would always be able to charge more than all the other teams, no matter whether we're 15th or first, right? But two, they've seen what's going on with Ineos and Man United. Oh, mate, it'll be unbelievable TV. That's what everybody wants to know, because it's played out like a soap opera anyway at Man United. We need the flies on the wall there. That would be so compelling to see.
If they were recording now, Flex, think of what they would get. They would get the Rashford stuff still. They would get the Garnacho stuff. They would get the Sancho stuff. They'd get the Brian Mbeumo stuff. All of this stuff is still happening. It's still happening.
Show, you're actually right. I said since Ineos have got here, but they haven't actually made that decision. You're right. Best thing Amorim's done since he's got here, then I'll rephrase that. You're right, because Ineos are the ones that are saying, tell you what, extra 10 million here, we need that. Listen, no. And also, you're right. Although the players have been criminals, convincing them and putting them on edge where you're trying to change the culture, you're trying to change this thing around, you've got cameras in their faces in like tough moments and that, and then broadcasting it to the world. Nah, mate, nah. Listen, when Arsenal were going through that shit of their season when they bottled that top four, it was brilliant. Now, don't get me wrong. They've rebuilt. They did some good stuff in it and stuff like that. But and I always refer back to that Aubameyang situation. It was actually quite eye-opening. But I want that at the expense of someone else, not when my team's this shit. Listen, if we were champions and flipping, it was great.
Like
there's so much good.
101 points, whatever it was.
And I didn't watch that All or Nothing. I refused to watch it because I don't want to see that. I watched the Spurs and Arsenal one because they ultimately ended in failure. So I want to see that. And Jose. But yeah, exactly. I still haven't watched the City one, probably never will. But for us, the detriment that will cause, the embarrassment, the club is already tarnished from what's going on. That will just be complete embarrassment. Now, listen, if we go on to have a good season, people could say, see, that would have been a great little turnaround about how, there's always things that we would like to see. I would love to see how Ruben really works, like behind the scenes. What is he saying? What's going on? I would love to see what Bruno thinks of
Punching
this, that, and then.
TVs.
Yeah, I want to. There's part of me but I want to see that privately. Send me a private screening.
Yeah.
I don't want to. I don't want to. That broadcast around the world, and for when we are this crap and we're trying to build, you've got cameras around trying to do that. Nah, do you know what I mean?
And also the reason why it's that, and also the fact that we have to basically bear all of our embarrassments, warts and all, just for, I say, a little bit of money, but in the grand scheme of things, like people say, look, if they offered Manchester United £100 million to do that, you go, well, look, that changes things. You've got to do it. But 10 million, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But 10 million just to be made a joke out of.
Yeah.
You go, that's not the financial gain is not worth the embarrassment that would come with it.
No way.
And it just wouldn't be. You can't. And I wouldn't even trust the players to be in that environment, to be honest with you, because
exactly. And behave properly.
Yeah, in a couple of those documentaries, you see these clips still today. I remember there's the one of Danny Rose going to Jose, of trying to sort of cuss him out while you play him, blah blah blah.
Which was great. You want to see the other
great
side
TV.
of the game.
Yeah, and it's great TV. But then you look at that and you go, a lot of people looked at it and went, "Fucking hell!" Like, what are you talking to Jose? What are you doing? Those kind of things. And who knows what that would even look like at Manchester United? I can't even think.
You don't even want to bring yourself. You don't want to bring yourself to go there, because, like you said, this is a soap opera. This is like nothing we've seen before, and the incompetence that we've seen from behind the scenes being played out in public as it is. Imagine there's actual real life documentation of this incompetency. Some people may say, good, expose them. We want to see it, to put face to the name.
Well, that's what Lamino says. I think Owen and Flex are missing the point, but are not expose the players to the world. But the issue is with that is at the expense of what? Because again, it's you have to weigh up the positives and the negatives. The negative of that could absolutely be that people that are thinking, I might go to Man United, will look at that and go, absolutely no way. I've heard those rumors, or this agent or this representative said, don't go to United. Look at how it's working in there. If it's on film, documented, that's just more evidence. You don't need more evidence of why you shouldn't go there. Go, look at this. Look at how, I don't know, Omar Barada talked to this player. Or look at how, look at all of the canteen staff. They interviewed some of them. They all hate it there because, they're only allowed, was it like a pie or sandwich for lunch or whatever. Or look at what those players got away with. That's not the right thing. Or look at this. Look at the facilities. Look at that. We just don't need it. we don't need that at all. We haven't got a lot that's worth showing off, really. It's not like, maybe now that Carrington's been sort of renovated, that's a bit nicer. Show off that. But it's not like when they were, with Spurs, they got arguably one of the best stadiums in the world and one of the best training grounds in the world, because they both got done in like the last decade. With City, of course, we know the resources that they've got and the facilities that they've got, so it looks nice. Imagine going in and going, yeah, this was the same jacuzzi that Ronaldo got in back in 2003. We've still got it. To be honest with you, I actually thought this yesterday. Those pictures of them in the gym at Carrington. I was looking at some of those machines. I thought they do look a bit old.
Yeah.
I was thinking some of them, like when Onana was on that like chest press machine. I thought I haven't seen one of those in a while. Like I remember going into a gym, back in sort of Oxfordshire in sort of 2012, 2013, and that's a while ago. That's 12 years ago. That's at Carrington. I'm thinking that's a bit worrying. That machine Roy Keane's on that clip when he's doing his knee and he's going like that. I was thinking, I bet that's still there. I bet they just, because it looks old.
It looks the same thing. But you know what, Owen? Sometimes, some anatomy and physiology doesn't change. The body is the body. Sometimes you don't need to change things just for the sake of it. When you're coming back from the ACL and you need to do that, the knee thing, when you're pushing again, it's the same movement. It's the same thing. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. Yeah. Sometimes you've got to think just like rusty. That. Don't just go and get, WD-40, you spray that. Yeah. Spray that down. Yeah. That can use, bro. That can use, mate. Until it falls apart, it's fine. If anything, it's more inspirational for the players. Roy Keane recovered on this. I saw Leacher doing that same thing as well. You know what I mean? In it, concrete weights. It says retro grande. Exactly. Flintstone settings, bro. Flintstone settings. Sometimes you just... Ramanor says, the amount of interviews Ruben does, do we need it? Exactly, and there's so much stuff you have to do separate for Amazon that they are entitled to. Sit downs, amount of players that get interviewed. Then it's like we have to be allowed into 3 sets of negotiations that take place because we need to see what that looks like. There's so much. I'd love to work at Amazon and see like whoever's in charge at Amazon of going, right, here's I'm going to sit and write the deliverables of what we would expect, what we want in this deal for what we're paying. Then obviously you submit that and you're like going, you can't have Ruben after a big loss, but you can have him and it just, that I'd love to just see how that is agreed. Because when you see the previous All or Nothings with the content that's in it, you can see that you have to get allowed for that. Like I think when Arsenal lost against, was it Spurs? When Spurs came back, or
well, there's like the Arsenal one where Arteta's playing "You Never Walk Alone" out in the training ground, and they get bopped 4-0. Like if that footage didn't exist, people wouldn't even remember the 4-0 loss at Anfield.
No.
They just move on. But the fact I can name that a thing that happened like 3 years ago is because that documentary exists. And it's like, that's when I go back to, okay, 10 million's great. And we can say like, oh yeah, it's good, expose them. But it's not about the damage that it could do to the players. It's the damage it could do to the club, like the reputation of the club and how, it could be short-term gain. You got 10 million and that help offset this financially, but that could actually set you back years because it might stop you getting a player. It might stop you from doing this deal. It might stop you doing that deal. And then suddenly, they go elsewhere and they do well. It's not worth the exposure. Keep it in-house. And we're not very good at that anyway, about keeping it in-house because of the amount of leaks. It's just, unless the situation was actually, it showed that it's really not that bad and it's all very overblown. Problem is, I don't believe that. I don't believe that is the case. We still remember those reports about players aren't happy, they're leaving training when it's dark. Imagine you actually saw footage of that.
That was
Gaffer, it's dark. Can we just end it a bit earlier?
Surely that's not a real thing. I don't know. There's been so much effery that's happened. You're just like, you can't rule out anything, can you? You can't.
It's like you're at school, your house is a mess or it's small or it's not a great house. And they go, can I come over yours later? And you go, let's go over yours.
Yeah.
Let's just play out.
Anything but come to mind. Yeah.
Let's play out. No, we never go around yours. Why do we go around yours?
It's very awesome.
Nah. I'm not going there going, well, this will expose my parents. Tidy up. This will expose my brother and sister, of how messy they are and of how crazy they are. You go, I'd rather they don't know, actually.
You bring that, you don't bring that to your yard, bro.
I'd rather they don't know, actually, how crazy it is at home. So let's just play football in the field. No problem.
100%. Well, let's just walk about. Let's just go somewhere.
Yeah, that's fine. Yeah.
It's mad. It's mad. There you have it, man. Oh, God, Man United. Please smash the like on the video. Subscribe to the channel. I keep ending these shows like this. But this is where we're at. And I am going to put myself, I'm going to be responsible with it, but I am going to be honest with you lot. My realization of where I'm at now, of understanding we're not getting much soon, is there. I'll be honest. I still think
Mbeumo today. Man United signed Vardy.
Yeah, no, but the Mbeumo one,
good.
I believe.
Jinx it, Fleck. Jinx it. It's not nothing's happening soon.
No, I don't think it is. But I mean, when I say that, I mean Mbeumo, I think will get done. I do think we'll get Mbeumo before American tour. I do. If not, I'm going to go to America in a foul mood. If we don't have Mbeumo, but I swear, even by Leeds, he should be there, and he's not going to be.
That won't be the time to be hanging around with KG, the comedian, Josh Media Graphics, Guru Vision Ninja, and who can be somewhat jarring sometimes on those kind of trips. They could.
100%. And guys, I'm letting you guys know now as well. I will be vlogging. I'm going to be like on the Football Flex. You guys are going to see. Like, I've wanted to do this for ages, to just like give you, not the real me, because this is the real me, but you lot know, all of you also know the other side to me. The other side to me. I could be stressy, I could be moany, I could be miserable, I could be silly and stupid as well.
Jürgen Fleck.
Yeah.
Those streams.
But I want to start that up on the Foot Flex. There's so much I want to do. There's so much I want to do, people. So yeah, but I will be vlogging whilst in the States. I'm going to invest. I'm going to get a vlog camera. I'm going to do something.
Ooh.
So I don't know how I'm going to be. You'll see the thing upside down, twisting around, not going the right way, and all of that. What's it? The DJI thing that can move. I think KG's got one of them actually.
Yeah.
There's
I thought
360
we dropped your
cameras
phone the other
that are doing-
day on one of the. Was it?
Yeah,
the
dropped it on
car?
Yeah. But that's because I was trying to balance it on the steering wheel. Anything to get the content out for you guys. You know what I'm saying? So there you go. There's so much to come. To check out the Football Flex. Subscribe to Owen Wrestle News 36555 and Reckless Sports and everybody else involved with the channel. Go show love to their channels and social media accounts. We are out of here, guys. Peace. What we got? Flex and KG show later on tonight. Unless KG has something different, actually, because I'm going to call him after this and make sure. So, yeah, there you go. We're out of here. Please give us a player by the end of the day. Peace.